In our leading story this morning, Congress of South African Students is rejecting the 2018-2019 budget allocation for basic education after it was slashed by 3%.
Cosas has voiced their outrage at reducing money allocated to basic education, which caters for grade R until grade 12. And this department has been continuously battling with issues like eradicating pit toilets and eliminating makeshift classrooms across the country. The student body is now looking at means of challenging this budget tabled by Minister Angie Motshekga.
Well, joining us in studio to unpack this matter, we have Cosas Penuel Maduna, the Johannesburg chairperson for Congress of South African Students. A very good morning to you, Penuel. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning to you and your viewers.
Now, just talk to us, unpack the reasons why Cosas is actually rejecting this 3% decrease in the budget.
No, the reason we are rejecting this 3% budget decrease is that we have been reporting problems to Minister Angie Motshekga. There are schools that are still using pit toilets. There are learners that are still dying because of negligence in school infrastructure. The Department of Basic Education has failed to comply with the norms and standards of public schools as dictated by the South African Schools Act. They failed to comply with the Education Charter, which says one classroom must have 35 learners. In our classrooms, we have 65 learners. One teacher is supposed to teach 65 learners, but the Department of Basic Education has got to reduce the budget for their department by 3%. And we've been telling Minister Angie Motshekga that our schools are not safe. Community Policing Forum is not working. That thing is just an abbreviation. It's just an excuse to give people free stipends. We want proper security guards in our school. The minister has bodyguards, but our schools do not have proper security guards to protect the limited resources that we have.
Yeah, Penuel, I understand your frustrations, and it's a multitude of issues that you have. But in your view, over the 24 years of democracy, why do you think that we still have these perennial problems, and over and above that, money also being cut where it's most needed?
No, the reason we still have these problems that the Minister of Basic Education, the Deputy Minister, the DG, and the members of the Education Subcommittee, they do not understand the problems that we are facing in our schools, because their children are attending in private schools. And private schools are every year, they increase their school fees so that they can increase the quality of education that they offer. The Minister of Education and all the Education Committee members will be paying more money for their children's education, but they decided to cut our budget by 3%. So we're saying that private schools must be nationalized so that the Minister of Education can understand that the decisions they take affect real lives. There are people who are being affected by the decisions that they take.
And over and above that, I mean, we're even talking about structural problems or perennial problems that haven't been addressed, such as pit toilets, eradicating makeshift classrooms across the country. Do you think that the various tiers of government, in the sense that, infrastructure would belong to one department, education belongs to another department, water and sanitation, that is part of the problem that makes it more convoluted to deal with your issues?
No, that's one of the things that causes more problems, because the Department of Basic Education must deal with all issues that are facing schools, all the things, infrastructure, water and sanitation. And we also want to commend President Cyril Ramaphosa for asking Minister Angie Motshekga to give him the report on the schools that are still using pit toilets, so that the government can be able to implement proper sanitary programs in schools.
But that's a bigger part. In the report itself, we know that with all the commemorations and tributes that were paid to Mama Winnie Madikizela Mandela, that at the time, when she was the advisory to the MEC for Human Settlements, had come up with a report that indicates the challenges within the Department of Basic Education and Training. So this in itself is a regurgitation of what has been done already. What is Cosas and other structures going to do to put pressure on the department to finally clean up their house?
No, what we are saying as the Congress of South African Students is that it is very clear that Minister Angie Motshekga has failed as a Minister of Basic Education. And as Cosas, we are saying that Minister Angie Motshekga must step down as a Minister of Basic Education, and someone who is capable to be a Minister of Education must be deployed to be a Minister of Basic Education. We cannot just deploy everyone just because they went to exile and they can be deployed to be Ministers of Basic Education. We want someone who is qualified to be a Minister of Basic Education to be deployed in that department department. Department of Basic Education is not like a department of military veterans whereby everyone went to exile must be a minister of basic education. So as Cosas was saying, we'll be mobilizing all progressive young people to ensure that we eject Minister Angie Motshekga as a minister of basic education. And what we are saying to the ANC is that they must choose between us, the young people who will be voting in 2019, and Minister Angie Motshekga. If they want to keep Minister Angie Motshekga as a minister of basic education in 2019, we are going to make sure that ANC does not win the 2019 national general elections.
And as Cosas, what type of criteria should an ideal Minister of Basic Education actually fulfill in your minds? Who do you think would have the right skills?
No, as Cosas were clear that MEC Panyaza Lesufi must be a Minister of Basic Education. He has proven to us that he is capable of being a Minister of Basic Education. In Gauteng, every month they are opening a new school. In Gauteng, the Minister of the MEC of Basic Education in Gauteng was the first one to adopt the Cosas program, saying one learner, one tablet, and he actually implemented that program here in Gauteng. He was the first one to adopt a program that says one learner, one driver's license, that calls for the incorporation of K53 in our curriculum. So we are saying that MEC Panyaza Lesufi must be the Minister of Basic Education because he has proven that he is capable to be a Minister of Basic Education with the programs that he has been implementing in the Department of Education here in Gauteng. And we are also saying that we are living in a digital age whereby technology is taking over. One can participate in global programs without having to open the door. But in our schools, we still don't have a Wi-Fi connectivity. And as Cosas, we are saying that broadband must be a basic human right.
And have you engaged the minister and all material stakeholders, or is it essentially about agitating outside the framework?
No, we have always engaged Minister Angie Motshekga on numerous occasions, even on the issue of Horse School of Verval. We had written a letter a month before to Minister Angie Motshekga that her department must push for a constitutional amendment in terms of language policy. We have been talking to her with different issues, including this thing of community policing forum. And when we implement a program to ensure that we remove all CPFs in our schools, Minister Angie Motshekga will be claiming that no, as Cosas, we are not engaging with her. And we are telling her now that CPF is not working, and if she does not do anything about implementing proper security guards, we are going to do it ourselves, and we are going to remove all those CPFs in our schools.
What has the response been in your, and I imagine that this has been quite a cumbersome exercise going back and forth. Have you had any, I suppose, success in your engagements?
No, we have not had any success, particularly when we engage through Cosas, because the first thing that they will do when you address issues that directly affect the students, they'll want to page you through political gatherings. They want to say, no, this one is a problem child, this one is a national program, and he must be removed from Cosas. So we are aware that Minister Angie Motshekga has targeted a few members of Cosas to say these people must not be allowed to lead any structure of Cosas because they are very vocal in addressing issues of young people. And the ANC is actually condoning that. So we're saying that we are not going to keep an arrogant organization in power.
All right, we'll also try and get hold of the Department of Basic Education and Training for a right of reply, but understanding the frustrations and how those can be contained or neutralized, mitigated, so that it doesn't erupt in a violent service delivery or protest that we've seen in recent months. What are you going to do that, in your view, is the most effective strategy to deal with the problems once and for all?
No, we'll continue to engage the Department of Basic Education. We'll continue to engage with Minister Angie Motshekga until, with the hope that she listens. But if she does not listen, we are going to mobilize all young people and we are going to march to union buildings to tell President Cyril Ramaphosa that we are tired. As students of South Africa, we are saying that Minister Angie Motshekga must be removed as a Minister of Basic Education. And with us supporting MEC Panyaza Lesufi to be a Minister of Basic Education, we are not going to go to President Cyril Ramaphosa and tell him that he must appoint MEC Panyaza Lesufi as a Minister of Basic Education. But what we are clear on is that Minister Angie Motshekga must be removed as a Minister of Basic Education.
Okay, but that is a process in itself. And I just want to get clarity that when you're saying you're mobilizing young people and primarily those of school-going age, is this not going to disrupt the curricula and especially now leading into mid-year exams?
No, you know, it's an issue of taking a decision. It's either we are guilty for keeping quiet with the challenges that continuously make us to be job seekers when we finish school, or we stand up once and for all to say that this minister that has failed must be removed from the Department of Basic Education, because it does not make sense that now we are going to write exams and we are being subjected to writing our exams in both English and Afrikaans. We are saying that if they want us to write our exams in English and Afrikaans, can they also include isiZulu, Sisuti, and all other African languages? So we are calling on all matriculants to boycott the 2018 matric exams, because we do not want to write in both English and Afrikaans. If they want to include Afrikaans, let them include our African languages.
Won't that set you back, though? I mean, if you're going to lose a whole academic year, albeit that your cause is honorable and is necessary, so that future generations don't have to be subjected to a language that is imposed to them, won't that set you back a year?
No, as Cosas, we have declared academic excellence as our generational clarion call, and we are not going to do anything that is going to affect that generational clarion call. But this is an issue that we've been addressing for years. It's an issue that we've been writing letters to Minister Motshekga. We've been having media interviews. We've tried almost every platform to engage with the Minister of Basic Education, but she's not willing to listen to us. So now this year we must take a decision that is going to assist all those who are coming behind us, because it won't assist us to be selfish and say, no, we are writing our exams and we are moving out of the system, while there are those who are coming behind us who are still going to suffer. So it's an issue of taking a decision.
Penwell Maduna, I'm sure you're running late for school as we speak, but nonetheless, the young lion representing young people across the board in the public sector, basic education sector, to be more precise, on their concerns of a budget cut from the department. Thanks indeed for your time.